Today's subject is on the Holy Spirit. I want to remind you only that True Life in God, that means the message is called True Life in God, that has been given to me now for 13 years, has been chosen by God himself, the title. But True Life in God is like a school. Jesus comes back to us in this special way through this charism that he has given me for the benefit of the church, to teach us and remind us the things that he has given us. Nothing is new, therefore. But he reminds them to us in such a way that, first of all, it's a delightful language that attracts the people, and he knows how to touch our hearts, Jesus. So the subjects are various subjects, and I would add quickly, it is not just the subjects, but it is also a call to conversion, a powerful call to conversion. But we will speak this in the other subjects that I'm going to take later on. Now, why the Holy Spirit today? Because it's an important subject that we find in True Life in God, and in fact, I think we have the most pages written about the Holy Spirit, the action of the Holy Spirit, the gifts of the Holy Spirit, etc. Because people are not very well acquainted with the Holy Spirit. And in fact, I remember once a person came who was a Catholic and practicing his religion, therefore going often to church, so one would have thought that this person would know better, but he came to me and asked me, Vasούλα, the Holy Spirit, is it a he or is it an it, or a dove? So we're talking about the three divine people. Therefore, it's a person. The Holy Spirit is a person. It's the third divine person of the Trinity. And in the messages of True Life in God, we have also passages from the Holy Spirit which have been dictated to me, especially in the latest volumes. Because the subject of the Holy Spirit is not an easy subject. It is deep, it is powerful, and sometimes the Holy Spirit speaks in metaphors and in a mystical language that we come to grow into that if we read from the very beginning. That means from book 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Because as I said to you in the beginning, it is like a school. If anybody wants to read the messages, they get like book number 5 or 6 or 7, they jump all the others, they will have a problem to understand the mystical language, because mystical language is flowery, it is different, and one should take it in a spiritual manner and not a physical manner. So as we are so much physical here on earth, we are tending sometimes to think of it in a physical way, which is completely wrong. So it's all spiritual. Now, the messages that Jesus gives us in this True Life in God, as I said, they are based on the teachings of scriptures also. Today I'm going to read a few passages. The other 3 times, I never took any passage of the messages, but I just wanted to get you familiar into my experience rather, and so that you understand me better. But let me take a passage now on the Holy Spirit. Without the Holy Spirit, we cannot, first of all, live in God. And this is what Jesus said 2 years ago. He said, I will pour out my Spirit as never before in history on all mankind, to deploy his power from one end of the earth to the other, ordering a renewal and a revival of my sanctuary. Now, what does that mean? It means that already the Holy Spirit is in action on mankind. And it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the most wretched person. He can just pick you up, transform you, and lift you, renew you, where he says here, renew and revive you. Because as it is today, we are living the end of times. Now, don't misunderstand me. The end of times does not mean the end of the world. The end of times is an end of one season, one epoch, if you want, one era. And we are at the ends of these times, and I would say thank God for that, because these times were the most horrible, I would say, in the history of the church, because it was prophesied, even in the prophecies of Fatima in Portugal, that these times will be one of the worst times in the church because of this apostasy. Let me explain. Apostasy means someone who is baptized Christian and voluntarily, knowing what he's doing, rejects the divine truth. That means he becomes an apostate. It's not a person who is an atheist from the beginning, not baptized, that is an apostate. It's a Christian who fell off the grace of God and rejects God, denies God, and doesn't want to accept the love of God. That's an apostate. So today our generation is living in one of the worst apostasies of the church, of the times, of these times. I would say church. When I say church, it means you and I are church people. Therefore, we represent the church too. So our generation is the worst of the times of this apostasy. Now, I remember one German priest had asked me, well, in the history of the church, there were always apostasies. Yes, but this one is a different one, because this one is a generalized apostasy. It has spread like cancer in a body. It's all over. So, because of this, God intervenes. And it's not just the true life in God. There are other apparitions of our Blessed Mother appearing left and right, teaching people all over again the catechism, if you want, and how to live holy. Of course, in the meantime, there's also false ones that come out, false prophets, because Satan is like this. When God is intervening and trying to do good, then Satan comes to confuse the people. He will spread darnel into the wheat, so that people wouldn't know which is the real and which is the false one. But this is a question of discernment. Now, if people who do not have discernment, they can fall very badly into something that is not from God, but from the person himself. But in the end, as Jesus said, you can tell the true from the false from their fruits. That means if there's good fruit, if you feel that you have progressed in your spiritual life through the message, that your love has augmented for God, that you have really gone back to the sacraments of the church, a transformation from within you, fervency and a fire which is coming from the Holy Spirit, fire of love for God, then know that this is good and it is from God, the messages. Now, and a healing, I would say a healing from within too, could be a sign of this.